a Hollywood twist has entered the reform row in Israel. Just as Netanyahu's cabinet was ready once again to present its bill in front of the Knesset, a hearing for his corruption case has resumed. Now, the Hollywood biggie is a new testimony from one of the main witnesses. He is a producer, an Israeli producer, and a friend of Benjamin Netanyahu. Our next report brings you all the details.
With dramatic moments worthy of one of his films, a top producer is being cross-examined in the corruption trial of Israel's prime minister, adding a Hollywood twist to the Israeli judicial overhaul row. The name Arnon Milchan has appeared on the credit rolls of big grocers Pretty Woman and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. He is an Israeli billionaire who is now settled in the UK. Milchan is the key witness for prosecutors trying to prove that PM Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife are guilty of corruption. He faces charges of fraud and breach of trust in landmark cases that have cast a long shadow over Israeli politics. The prosecution has argued that in exchange for the gifts that included champagne, cigars and jewelry for the prime minister and his wife, Netanyahu helped the Pretty Woman producer with personal and business needs. Netanyahu has been accused of using his position to help Milchan with his US visa status and by pushing for legislation that served his business interests. The Prime Minister denies doing anything wrong, claiming he is the victim of a political witch hunt. This week, the big-shot producer appeared before the court virtually. He conceded to offering champagne and cigars as gifts to Netanyahu, providing an unexpected diversion for holidaymakers. Milchan told the court that Bibi and he like to discuss history together. He called the bond close and brother-like. He even said that no one has an idea of what the two have done in secret for the country. Netanyahu's political adversaries have argued that he should not hold office while on trial. Some have even accused him of pushing the controversial judicial overhaul to break out of his own legal predicament. Last Sunday, the Israeli government reintroduced the judicial bill in the Knesset. The latest effort doesn't seek the kind of major overhaul the government tried before. One that led to months of furious street protests and a threat to the economy. But it may be the first of a series and could once again trigger unrest.
We oppose the process of the coup or the judicial reform. We think it is against democracy and we think it is important to do it now because the negotiations for a compromise have exploded. So now is the time to express our protest.
To once again try to ruin the Israeli democracy by making horrible laws that only goal is to destroy the democracy of Israel, to destroy any balance between the different branches of the government in order to make it a dictatorship at the end of the day.
6 Israeli protesters were arrested earlier this week following a rally outside the justice minister's home. Minister Yariv Levin is a confidant of Netanyahu. He is also a long-time critic of the Supreme Court. Levin unveiled the judicial overhaul days after taking office last December. He said the plan was needed to rein in an interventionist judiciary. The proposal in question seeks to chip away at a single doctrine which critics have long considered vague. It permits judges to dismiss an appointment or decision if it's deemed unreasonable. Israeli courts have used the reasonableness doctrine to bar convicted criminals from serving as ministers and to stop government regulations. Critics say the proposals undermine judicial independence, as Israel has no constitution and only one house of parliament that is controlled by the coalition. The overhaul has yet to become law, but it has already affected the currency. It has raised concerns among some Western allies about the health of Israeli democracy. The rival sides are digging in, deepening one of Israel's worst domestic crises. The protests have sent shockwaves through Israel and pose a serious challenge to Netanyahu.